From bullying a Nelk boy to heckling Alex Volkanovski's coach, Islam Makhachev is a bully. Craig Jones, an Australian mixed martial artist, he recently opened up about a confrontation he had with UFC fighter Islam Makhachev before UFC 267 in Abu Dhabi. According to Jones, Makhachev made an offensive comment that caused him to speak out against the alleged bully. Jones, who's known for his grappling skills, stated that Makhachev's comment was directed towards his friend and fellow fighter Nick Rodriguez.
But honestly, it was pretty easy being Islam, you know? Like, I didn't have to worry about taking Volks down. I just had to be a boring on top, you know?
Makhachev reportedly said that he could smash Nick without even training. Jones took offense to the comment and decided to confront Makhachev about it. He explained that he confronted the Russian professional and told him that he was being a bully. He further stated that Makhachev appeared to be surprised that someone had stood up to him. Jones claimed that the fighter then tried to intimidate him by asking if he wanted to fight. The Australian fighter said that he declined Makhachev's offer to fight as he did not want to engage in physical violence. However, he expressed regret that he did not stand up for his friend more forcefully. Jones also stated that he had decided to speak out about the incident because he did not want to stay quiet about bullying behavior. The incident between Jones and Islam occurred before the controversial weigh-in for UFC 267. Makhachev had missed his weight goal by 0.2 pounds and was given 2 hours to make it.
I mean, Dylan must have said some worse things to me. I was just playing around. I mean, you can't really take anything I say serious.
However, the controversy arose when Makhachev was seen using an IV in his hotel room, which is not allowed under UFC rules. Jones commented on the controversy, saying that he believed Islam's use of the IV was an intentional cheat. He also expressed his disappointment that some fighters were willing to break the rules to gain an advantage. According to Chael Sonnen, there was an interesting altercation between Islam Makhachev and Craig Jones backstage after the fight at UFC 267.
In that moment, it appears that Islam goes to Craig Jones, the grappling coach of Volkanovski, and asks him a question about a choke. So I asked Craig about that. I said, it looked like Islam asked you a question, did he? Craig corrected me and said, no, he didn't ask me a question.
Makhachev allegedly approached Jones, who's the grappling coach for Alexander Volkanovski, and heckled him about his inability to finish a choke during the fight. Jones reportedly responded by reminding Makhachev that he had his opponent's back during the fight and still couldn't finish the choke. While this interaction may have seemed harmless at the time, it reportedly had far-reaching consequences. It's believed that Makhachev took offense to Jones's comments and may have used the IV to gain an advantage over his opponent. The use of IVs for rehydration is prohibited by the UFC, as it can give fighters an unfair advantage over their opponents.
Islam Makhachev's team is refuting Dan Hooker's allegations that the UFC lightweight champion took an IV to replenish hydration levels after weighing in for his UFC 284 headline bout against Alexander Volkanovski.
The revelation of this altercation sheds light on the psychological warfare that often takes place in combat sports. Fighters often use trash talk and intimidation tactics to get into their opponent's heads before a fight.
If I beat Volkanovski, you know, people gonna say, but people always talk some, but I want to fight for the Charles, and I hope he's gonna make weight.
I didn't see this short guy, bring him here.
Get Volkanovski in here.
And it seems that Makhachev may have used this tactic to gain an advantage over his opponent. It is important to note, however, these allegations are unconfirmed and should be taken with a grain of salt. Nonetheless, they highlight the potential dangers of weight cutting and the importance of fair play in combat sports. Sonnen also expressed his disappointment that some fighters were willing to break the rules to gain an advantage, such as using an IV to rehydrate after missing weight. Overall, Sonnen's comments focused on the importance of respect and sportsmanship in mixed martial arts. He emphasized that fighters should treat each other with respect and should not engage in bullying behavior, which is what Islam definitely was acting like, a bully. Sonnen's comments reflect a growing awareness in the MMA community about the need for fighters to be held accountable for their actions and to uphold the values of respect and fair play.
Imagine that Islam, who doesn't seem like a twisted person, but if he's going to be in this case, he knows that he's in violation.
As the fighters celebrated Hooker's birthday, news of Makhachev's IV usage reached his ears. It was Dan Hooker who eventually broke the news of Makhachev's IV usage to the world. Hooker decided against staying quiet about it and brought it to the world. This revelation by Hooker caused a stir in the MMA community, as the use of IVs is strictly prohibited by the UFC. The UFC has implemented this rule to prevent fighters from using IVs to rehydrate after weight cutting, as it can give them an unfair advantage over their opponents. Hooker's decision to speak out about Makhachev's IV usage also sparked debate about the prevalence of weight cutting in MMA, as well as its potential dangers. Many fighters have struggled with weight cutting in the past. Some have even suffered serious health consequences as a result. Overall, Hooker's decision to speak out about Makhachev's IV usage is commendable, as it sheds light on a potentially dangerous practice in MMA. It also shows the importance of transparency and accountability in the sport. Despite the lack of official development over the issue of Islam Makhachev's alleged IV usage, there's been significant discussion among fans in the MMA community. Many fans have criticized Makhachev for his alleged use of the IV, as it is a prohibited practice in the UFC and can give fighters an unfair advantage over their opponents.
Beautiful little hook right into the double leg takedown. Now he's got Dan Hooker on his back. He's going to start to use his legs to maneuver Dan.
Some fans have gone so far as to suggest that Makhachev's victory over Dan Hooker should be overturned as a result of the alleged infraction. However, there are also many fans who have come to Makhachev's defense, arguing that the use of IVs for rehydration purposes is a common practice among fighters. It isn't necessarily indicative of foul play. Some have pointed out that Makhachev has never tested positive for any banned substances. They also say that there's no concrete evidence to support the allegations against him. Ultimately, it is up to the UFC to investigate the matter and take appropriate action if necessary. Until then, it's likely that the debate among fans will continue. Some are calling for stricter regulations around weight cutting and hydration practices in combat sports. The fight between Islam Makhachev and Dan Hooker at UFC 267 was a dominant performance by Makhachev, though. He was able to control the fight with his superior grappling skills, taking Hooker down and working him over on the ground. Makhachev was able to secure a rear naked choke in the third round, forcing Hooker to tap out and ending the fight. The victory improved Makhachev's record to 21-1 and solidified his position as one of the top contenders in the UFC's lightweight division. Maybe this was Islam's revenge for Hooker revealing his IV usage. Who knows? It could fit him into being a bully. Speaking of which, in a recent incident, Islam was seen bullying YouTube personality Nelkboy after the latter made an audacious call-out to fight him. Nelkboy, whose real name is Jesse Sebastiani, is known for his pranks and stunts on his YouTube channel. In a video posted on social media, Nelkboy can be seen approaching Makhachev, who is seated in a car with some friends. Nelkboy then proceeds to make a call-out to Makhachev saying, "I want to fight you." Makhachev initially seems amused by the call-out and tells Nelkboy that he needs to train first before he can fight him. However, the situation quickly turns sour as Makhachev begins to bully Nelkboy, insulting him and even threatening him with violence. The incident has sparked widespread criticism, with many fans and fellow fighters condemning Makhachev's behavior. Some have pointed out that Makhachev, as a professional athlete and role model, should not be engaging in bullying behavior. Others have expressed concern that the incident could reflect poorly on the sport of MMA as a whole. Makhachev has not yet commented on the incident, but it remains to be seen whether he'll face any repercussions from the UFC or other organizations. Regardless, the incident serves as a reminder that even professional athletes are not immune to issues of bullying and harassment. It's important to hold them accountable for their actions, both in and out of the ring. This is why Islam Makhachev is a bully.